Sally that girl in the kitchen. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sally that girl in the kitchen. In today's episode, I'm going to teach you how to make a Chicago-style deep dish pizza with a mozzarella crust. Yes, that sounds crazy. It is a Chicago-style deep dish pizza made in a cast iron skillet, but to make it even better, its edge is an actual crust of mozzarella that gets crispy and yummy in the oven with the cast iron skillet. And as if that weren't enough, I'm also going to teach you how to whip up your own tomato sauce made with San Marzano tomatoes. Of course, if you don't want to make your own tomato sauce, then there's nothing wrong with using your favorite jar of tomato sauce. But there is something extra special about making the sauce yourself. So let's not wait another second. Let's get started. For today's recipe, you will need 1 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/4 cup of yellow cornmeal plus a bit more separate, 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil, 3/4 of a cup of warm water, 1 teaspoon of active dry yeast, 1 teaspoon of sugar, 3/4 teaspoons salt, 3 tablespoons butter plus a bit more separate, 13 slices of mozzarella cheese, and grated Parmesan cheese to taste. To make the homemade San Marzano tomato sauce, you will need a 28-ounce can of crushed San Marzano tomatoes, a 6-ounce can of tomato paste or 6 ounces of tomato paste from your favorite tube, 10 large fresh basil leaves, 8 sprigs of fresh Italian oregano, 3 cloves of garlic, a half of a yellow onion, 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 1 teaspoon salt, 3 tablespoons of sugar, half a teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of dried basil, and 1 teaspoon of dried oregano. You will also need a 12-inch cast iron skillet, a medium-sized pot with a lid and something to stir with, a rolling pin and some wax paper, and you will need a large bowl, some plastic wrap, some dry measuring cups, some measuring spoons, and some wet measuring cups. You will also need a knife and a dough whisk, or a large fork. For this recipe, we will be using the stovetop, the oven, and even the freezer. Now that we have all of our tools and our ingredients together, let's get started on making our dough. The first thing you're going to want to do is grab your butter and place it on a piece of your wax paper or a piece of parchment paper. Then, using a knife, cut it into very small cubes that we are going to place into the freezer because we want to get our butter really cold as we will be integrating it into our dough. The addition of butter into our dough makes it extra fluffy and extra flaky and extra delicious. So once you've cubed up your butter, just place it in your freezer until we're ready to use it. Now, measure out your water and warm it up just a touch in the microwave. You want it lukewarm, not super hot. Now grab your active dry yeast and measure it out and add it to your warm water. Now add your sugar to the mixture and then using a fork, give it all a good stir. Now let your mixture sit for 5 minutes to activate and become nice and frothy. So now that your yeast mixture is ready, grab your flour and add it to your bowl. Then, on top of the flour, add the yeast mixture that we had just prepared. Now use your dough whisk, or a large fork to bring the ingredients together. Now to that mixture, add your cornmeal, and then go ahead and add your salt and most of your olive oil. Leave just a touch of your olive oil in your measuring cup. Now mix the ingredients together until they start to combine. When you see them starting to come together, switch to your hands and knead the dough for just a few minutes until you've formed a nice, smooth, cohesive ball of dough. Once your dough has come together, place your dough ball into the same bowl and use the little bit of olive oil that you left in your measuring cup to pour it over your dough ball. Then use your hands and make sure you cover the top and bottom of the dough ball with the oil. You want to do this to make sure that your dough ball does not dry out as it is rising. So then take your plastic wrap and make sure you cover your bowl really well. Place the bowl in a draft-free spot. I like to use my oven turned off. Set a 1.5 hour timer to let your dough rise. Set out a reminder to yourself and to others that there is something in the oven so that no one accidentally turns it on. So now that our dough is rising, let's move on to making our sauce. First, grab your fresh oregano and remove the leaves from the stems. Now we are going to chiffonade our basil. So we stack our leaves on top of each other and then we roll them up as tightly as we can into a little roll. And then we are going to use our knife to cut ribbons of basil. The addition of fresh herbs really makes a difference in our sauce, but if you don't have fresh herbs available, then that's fine. Just increase the quantities of your dried herbs by a bit so that you're sure that you get that delicious herb taste in your delicious sauce. Now, finely chop your garlic cloves and your onion. Then, grab your olive oil and measure out 3 tablespoons into your pot. Turn your stove on to medium heat. To that pot, add your chopped onion and begin to cook your onion. You want to cook it gently because we're not looking to brown the onion. We just want to make them translucent and delicious. Now add your chopped garlic and continue to stir and cook it for a quick minute, being careful not to burn your garlic. Now once your garlic is smelling fragrant, then add your tomato paste and continue to stir the mixture until all the tomato paste has been combined. Now once your tomato paste is in, then add your fresh herbs, your oregano and your delicious ribbons of basil. To this mixture, you're going to want to add your salt, your sugar, your black pepper, your garlic powder, your onion powder, and your dried oregano and your dried basil. Give your ingredients a quick stir, then add your entire can of San Marzano tomatoes and your water. Now give your sauce another quick stir and allow it to return to a simmer. Once you see that the sauce is simmering, you are going to put your lid on your sauce just slightly off-centered to allow some steam to escape while it is cooking. Lower your stove's temperature to a low simmer and allow your sauce to cook for a full 45 minutes, remembering to stir it every 10 minutes or so. After the 45 minutes, your sauce will look absolutely beautiful, thick, and delicious. Turn off your heat and move your pot off of the burner to allow your sauce to cool down until we are ready to use it. So once the timer for our dough has gone off, it is time to put our pizza together. Rip off a couple of sheets of wax paper so that we can work our dough. Now, preheat your oven to 400 degrees. Then, grab your spoon and sprinkle a little bit of cornmeal over one of your sheets of wax paper. Then, grab your bowl, uncover it, and punch down your dough a few times to release the gases that have formed while it was rising. Then, remove the dough from the bowl and place it on the prepared sheet of wax paper. Using your fingertips, press your dough down just a little bit to create a little more surface area. Then, grab the frozen cubes of butter from your freezer and bring them over. Then, place them directly on your dough, spacing them out. Fold your dough over as necessary to make room to place more pieces of your frozen butter. Continue to do this process until you've incorporated all of the pieces of your frozen butter, folding down your dough as many times as necessary to get those yummy pieces of butter incorporated. Once you've incorporated all of your butter, form a ball out of your dough. Then, place the dough ball back onto the wax paper and grab your second sheet of wax paper and put it over it. Now, using the palm of your hand, press down on your dough ball just to slightly flatten it a bit. Then, uncover it and sprinkle a little of the cornmeal over your dough. Once you have done so, cover it once again with the wax paper, and now you will continue to spread the dough out using the palm of your hand as we are trying to form a circle with our dough. We use the hard part of our hand to press our dough down until we no longer can spread it any further. And then, once you've used your hand to spread it as far as you can, switch to your rolling pin and continue to stretch your ball out until you've formed a large circle. Don't overhandle your dough as you want your butter bits to remain frozen. Then, uncover your dough and lightly grease your cast iron skillet. I like to use a butter stick with the wrapper still on because I find it very easy to lightly butter my pan this way. Now, with the bottom sheet of the wax paper still on your dough, bring your dough over to your cast iron skillet and turn it over onto the skillet. Then, peel off the sheet of wax paper. Using your fingertips, stretch the dough until it covers the entire bottom of your pan. You don't want to go up the sides of the pan, only the bottom. Now grab your slices of mozzarella cheese, and this time we are going to cover the dough, but we are also going to make sure that we cover the sides of the pan with our slices of cheese. As the cheese cooks and melts, the slices that are on the pan will caramelize and become the crusty edge of our delicious deep dish pizza. Make sure to cover your entire dough and all of the sides of the pan. Now grab your yummy San Marzano tomato sauce and with the use of a spoon or a small ladle, pour on your sauce over your layer of cheese. You are going to use the spoon to help you spread the layer of sauce over that yummy layer of mozzarella cheese. Continue to add sauce to your liking. I like my pizza pretty saucy, but go light, go saucy. It's your pizza. Make it the way you like it. You will have some of that yummy tomato sauce left over, but I'm sure you won't be angry about it. It is absolutely delicious. You can use it for dipping your pizza into it, or for some pasta, or just for some crusty bread. There are infinite uses for it. Now grab your Parmesan cheese and give your pizza a light sprinkling of it. Notice we have the cheese on the bottom and the sauce on top. which is very typical of Chicago-style deep dish pizza. But a little sprinkle of Parmesan is also very typical and very delicious. Now, very carefully, place your pizza into your hot oven and set a 30-minute timer to let it bake. When your 30 minutes are up, pull your pizza out and wow, perfection. Just listen to that incredible sizzle. That sound and the incredible smell will have everyone flocking to the kitchen. This yummy deep dish pizza is absolutely delicious, and that toasty mozzarella crust that it has going all around the edge is unbelievable. Once you've let your pizza cool down just a bit, use a sharp knife to separate the crust from the edge of your cast iron skillet. It'll come off very easily. Then your pizza is ready for slicing, and more importantly, for serving. Take a look at that incredibly golden mozzarella edge. It really is something else. The edge is crispy and golden, while the dough is fluffy and airy. It is a perfect combination, and topped with that delicious San Marzano tomato sauce and mozzarella cheese, you are going to love it. I know that pizza isn't usually eaten crust first, but how can I resist? I have to try it. It is so chewy and delicious. It's incredible. And the dough is so airy, it's unbelievable. And with that delicious sauce and cheese on top, you are going to love this pizza. Now, how incredible does that look? It is absolutely delicious. That homemade sauce brings it over the top with just a touch of sweetness to it. And that mozzarella crust that gets all yummy and golden and dark in the oven with the cast iron skillet really sets this pizza apart. You are going to absolutely love it. Trust me. No, better yet, don't trust me. You're going to have to try to make this recipe yourself. If you've enjoyed today's recipe, don't forget to like, comment, and share. And of course, remember to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on a single amazing recipe that I have planned for you. See you next time. Sally that girl in the kitchen.